Today we're going to talk about characteristics of a linear equation. We're going to cover domain, range, x-intercept, y-intercept, increasing and decreasing interval, and min and max interval. So we're going to start with our domain. Alright, and domain is talking about x values. And wants to talk about which x values will make this equation true or continue to be true. So we want to look here at the x. We know that our equation is going to continue to go to the left and continue to go to the right forever. That means our domain will be all real numbers. Alright, any number will work. Negative or positive will continue. Our graph will continue to go. Next, let's talk about the range. Range is talking about y values. Our y values go up and down on our graph. Since our graph again is continuing to go up and continuing to go down, it will cross every single y value, positive and negative, which means its range will also be all real numbers. The domain and range of a linear equation will always be all real numbers unless there's been certain constraints given in a word problem, okay? So let's get all this off. Alright. Next, I want to talk about our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Now, everybody should be pretty familiar with this. Okay? If we look closely, we can tell that both of our x and our y-intercept are right here at 0, 0. So let's go ahead and mark that down. Everybody should be very familiar with x and y-intercept. X-intercept is where our line touches the x-axis, and our y-intercept is where our line touches the y-axis. Next, let's talk about our intervals of increase and decrease. Alright? These are probably going to be the hardest that we do. With linear functions, we either have increase or we have decrease. The way that we figure out which one is which is we read our graph from left to right, always starting at the left and going towards the right. So if I put my pen or my highlighter on the left side of the graph over here and I follow it to the right, I notice that my graph is moving up, or it is increasing as we move. Now, my graph starts, since we have already talked about how our graph continues on forever and ever in both directions, we know that it comes from this side is negative infinity, and as it works its way to the right, it's going towards positive infinity. Since our graph is constantly increasing, it will increase from negative infinity to positive infinity. And as we move on towards lessons in the year, we'll find that graphs can change from going from increasing intervals to decreasing intervals. But as far as linear equations go, it'll either increase or it will decrease. Okay, lastly, let's look at our min and max. On linear functions, we do not have a particular min and max because our equations are constantly going up and down. There's never a peak or lowest part of our linear equation, so we will not have a min or a max.